Right now, while you are sitting inside your house feeling safe, there are hundreds of mosquitoes being born on your property. And the place they are coming from is somewhere you have probably never once looked. It is not the pond down the street. It is not your neighbor's yard. It is right above your head, your gutters. Most people spend money every single month paying a company to spray their yard. They buy candles, they wear bug spray, they close the windows early. And none of it works as well as it should, because they keep ignoring the one place on their property that is making more mosquitoes than anywhere else. By the end of this video, you are going to know exactly what is happening up in those gutters, why it is so bad, and what you can do about it this weekend for less than $20. And I promise you, once you see this, you are never going to look at your house the same way again. Let me start with something most people get completely wrong about mosquitoes. Everyone thinks mosquitoes come from somewhere else. They think they blow in from the woods, or they drift over from the pond 2 blocks away, or they come from the swampy area at the edge of the neighborhood. And that is a very comfortable thing to believe, because it means the problem is not yours to fix. But here is the truth. Every mosquito that bites you in your own backyard was almost certainly born in your own backyard. Mosquitoes are not great flyers. They spend their entire lives within a few hundred feet of where they hatched. So if you are getting eaten alive on your porch every evening, those mosquitoes were not imported from somewhere far away. They came from somewhere on your property. And figuring out where is the whole game. Now, most people, when they hear this, start thinking about the obvious stuff. The bird bath, the old bucket sitting behind the shed, the kiddie pool the kids left out. And yes, those things are real breeding spots, and you should deal with them. But there is one place that almost nobody ever checks. One place that holds water for weeks at a time, that has a perfect layer of rotting organic material sitting in it, that is shaded and dark and warm. One place that is basically a 5-star resort for a female mosquito looking for somewhere to lay her eggs, and it is bolted to the side of your house. Here is what actually happens inside a clogged gutter, and once I explain this, you are going to understand why it is so much worse than a bird bath or a bucket. Gutters are designed to move water. When they are clean and clear, rain hits the roof, flows into the gutter, runs down the downspout, and drains away from your house. The water is moving. Moving water does not breed mosquitoes. That is the key detail. A mosquito needs still, stagnant water to lay her eggs. She will not lay eggs in a river or a stream or anything that is flowing. She needs it to be calm. Now, here's where gutters become a problem. Over time, leaves fall into them. Pine needles collect. Little chunks of granules from your shingles wash in and pile up. And all of that debris starts to build up into a kind of dam. Water hits that dam and stops moving. It pools up. It sits there in the shade, completely still, slowly getting warmer as the season goes on. And then the organic material in the gutter, the leaves, the sticks, the dirt, starts to break down. It rots. And as it rots, it releases the exact same chemical signals that decaying vegetation releases in a natural pond or swamp. Signals that a female mosquito can smell from a surprising distance. Signals that tell her, in whatever way a mosquito experiences the world, that this is a good place to leave her eggs. You do not need a lot of water for this to happen. That is the part that shocks most people. We are not talking about a full gutter overflowing with water. We are talking about a small pocket of water trapped behind a clump of leaves. A damp, soggy pile of debris that holds enough moisture to stay wet between rainstorms. A female mosquito can lay a raft of eggs in less than a tablespoon of water. Think about that. Less than a tablespoon. And she can do it in the time it takes you to eat breakfast. One study found that mosquitoes do not even require the water to be fully pooled. New research shows they will lay eggs right next to the standing water, on the damp surface of the debris itself, which means your gutters do not even need to be visibly holding water to be producing mosquitoes. They just need to be damp. And if your gutters have any debris in them at all, they are almost certainly damp for most of the mosquito season. Now here's what makes this so much worse than a bucket on the ground. When a bucket sits in your yard, you can see it. You walk past it, you notice the water, you dump it out or treat it. It is visible. It is at eye level. You interact with it. Your gutters are 12, 15, sometimes 20 feet above your head. You cannot see into them from the ground. You do not walk past them and notice they are wet. They are completely out of your daily awareness. And that is exactly why mosquitoes have been using them for years without anyone catching on. Think about the last time you actually looked inside your gutters. Not just glanced up at them from the yard, but actually got up on a ladder and looked inside. For most people, that has not happened in a long time. Maybe never. And in the meantime, rain after rain, debris keeps building up, water keeps pooling, and the mosquito population on your property keeps quietly growing, season after season, with nobody ever figuring out where they are coming from. There's another detail that makes gutters particularly bad. Most houses have gutters running along the back of the house, right above the porch or patio, which means the breeding ground is sitting directly over the place where you like to sit outside. The mosquitoes hatch up in the gutter, drop down, and you are right there. You are the first thing they find. So let us talk about what you can do about it. because this is fixable. It is not complicated. It does not require a professional. You do not need to call anyone or sign any contracts. And the products that work best are cheap, safe, and have been proven in real scientific research for decades. The first thing, and I want to be clear, this is not optional, is you need to clean your gutters at least once a year. Twice is better, once in the spring before mosquito season starts and once in the fall after the leaves come down. When gutters are clean and water flows through them freely, they stop being a breeding ground. Moving water does not let mosquito eggs develop. So the most powerful thing you can do is restore the flow. I know cleaning gutters is not fun, but here's a way to think about it. Every time you have paid a mosquito company to come spray your yard, every time you have slapped on bug spray before going outside, every time you have abandoned your porch early because the mosquitoes were too bad, part of the reason those things were not working is because the gutters were still up there, producing a new generation of mosquitoes every week. Cleaning the gutters does not just solve the gutter problem. It removes what might be the single biggest source of mosquitoes on your whole property. But cleaning your gutters is not always enough on its own, because even clean gutters can hold water in certain spots, especially if they sag slightly or if your downspout gets partially blocked. And if you live somewhere that gets a lot of rain, or if you have a lot of trees around your house, your gutters are going to collect debris faster than you can keep up with. This is where something called BTI comes in. And I want to spend a little time on this because not enough people know about it. And it is one of the most impressive things I have come across in terms of mosquito control. BTI stands for Bacillus thuringiensis israelensis. That is a mouthful, so just call it BTI. It is a naturally occurring bacterium that lives in soil all over the world. It was first discovered in the late 1970s. And what makes it remarkable is that it kills mosquito larvae with almost perfect precision, while leaving everything else completely alone. Here's how it works. When a mosquito larva, the tiny worm-like creature that hatches from the egg and lives in the water before growing wings, when that larva eats a particle of BTI, the bacteria releases a toxin inside the larva's gut. The gut of a mosquito larva is alkaline in a very specific way, and the toxin in BTI only activates in that exact chemical environment. Within 24 hours, the larva is dead. Honeybees have a completely different gut chemistry. So do butterflies. So do dragonflies, frogs, fish, dogs, children, and every other living thing you might be worried about. BTI does not affect them at all. The EPA has reviewed this extensively. Germany has been using BTI in their national mosquito control program since 1981. The state of Pennsylvania uses it. Maryland uses it. They drop it from airplanes over marshland. And you can buy it at any hardware store in the lawn and garden section for about $17. It comes in two main forms. One is called mosquito bits, which look like small granules, almost like fish food. You sprinkle them into any standing water and they start working immediately. The other form is called mosquito dunks, which look like little brown donuts. You drop one into a larger body of water, like a rain barrel or a low spot in the yard that floods, and it slowly dissolves over about 30 days, releasing BTI the whole time. For your gutters specifically, mosquito bits are what you want. After you have cleaned your gutters out, sprinkle a small amount of mosquito bits directly into the gutter. If your gutters tend to hold water in certain spots, a light application every few weeks during mosquito season is enough to shut down any larvae before they can develop into adults. That is it. $17, 5 minutes on a ladder, and you have just eliminated what was probably your biggest mosquito breeding site. Now, here's something I want to make very clear, because a lot of people hear about BTI and then ask why the mosquito control company they hire every month is not using it instead. The answer is not complicated. BTI is cheap. It is available over the counter. Once you know about it, you do not need anyone to apply it for you. A single $17 container of mosquito bits is enough for one household for an entire summer. A monthly mosquito spray contract from a professional company costs somewhere between $60 and $90 per visit, sometimes more. The products those companies typically use are a class of chemicals called pyrethroids. You might have heard of permethrin, or bifenthrin, or deltamethrin. These are synthetic insecticides that work by killing adult mosquitoes on contact, and they do kill mosquitoes. But here's what those companies do not always tell you clearly. Pyrethroids kill every insect they touch, not just mosquitoes. Bees, butterflies, moths, dragonflies, ladybugs, and countless other beneficial insects all die when they come into contact with these chemicals. The National Wildlife Federation has documented this. Studies have shown that even tiny residual amounts of permethrin, amounts too small to see or smell, can disorient honeybees so badly that they cannot find their way back to the hive. One study found that after exposure to just a fraction of a microgram of permethrin per bee, none of the observed bees returned to their hive at the end of the day. They were not dead. They were just lost. And lost bees are bees that do not pollinate. And bees that do not return to the hive at night do not survive. Honeybee populations in this country have been declining for more than 20 years. Scientists point to many causes, and one of the causes is the widespread use of broad-spectrum insecticides in residential settings, which means every time a spray truck drives through your neighborhood and coats every surface with pyrethroid, it is contributing to a real, documented problem, while charging you money every month to do it. And while a $17 bag of BTI sitting in the lawn and garden section of the hardware store could handle the larvae before they ever became adult mosquitoes in the first place. Now let us zoom out for a second, because I want you to understand why mosquitoes actually matter beyond the itching. Mosquitoes kill more human beings every year than any other animal on the planet. Not sharks, not snakes, not bears, mosquitoes. In 2024 alone, West Nile virus killed over 160 people in the United States. That might sound small compared to other diseases, but those are people who went outside, got bitten, and died from a mosquito bite in their own country. And West Nile is not even the scariest one. Eastern equine encephalitis, sometimes called triple E, hit a 5-year high in 2024 with 19 confirmed human cases in the US. About 1 in 3 people who get EEE dies from it. A 41-year-old man with no underlying health conditions died from it in New Hampshire in 2024. No prior illness. No reason to think a mosquito bite in his own backyard would kill him. This is not about being comfortable on your porch. This is about a real public health issue that most people are addressing completely wrong, because they are focused on the adult mosquitoes flying around their yard while the next generation is growing uninterrupted up in their gutters. So here's what I want you to actually do this week. Not someday. This week. First, if you have not cleaned your gutters in the last 12 months, that is your priority. Get up there, clear out the debris, and restore the flow. If you are not comfortable on a ladder, hire someone for a one-time cleaning. It is worth it. Second, pick up a container of mosquito bits the next time you are at the hardware store. After you clean, sprinkle a small amount in any gutter sections that tend to sag or hold water. Do this once every few weeks from May through September. Third, while you are at it, walk your property with a coffee can and dump out every other container that has been collecting water. The saucers under your potted plants, the old bucket behind the shed, the tarp that has a pocket of water in it, the wheelbarrow, the bird bath, which you should rinse and refill every few days anyway. Every container of standing water you eliminate is one less place mosquitoes can breed. And the gutters plus source reduction together? That combination is more effective than any spray truck that has ever driven down your street. The mosquito problem is not coming from somewhere else. It never was. It has been growing right above your head. And now you know exactly what to do about it. If you want to see the full system I use to eliminate mosquitoes from an entire property without chemicals and without a monthly contract, that video is right here.